Hello, I'm Miss Carla. Welcome to my story time. Today we're going to read The Hello Goodbye Window, and the author is Norton Juster, and the illustrator is Chris Roshka. If you remember, the author is the one who writes the words and makes up the story, and the illustrator is the one who creates the pictures. Before we start reading the book, I wanted to point out that you may know these people, Chris Roshka and Norton Juster. They both have worked on other things. If you read chapter books, you might have read this book, The Phantom Tollbooth. This is by Norton Juster. So he wrote this whole chapter book also. And Chris Roshka is one of my favorite illustrators. And he has illustrated and written a lot of picture books. This one is quite famous. It was a Caldecott honor book called Yo, Yes. And this book has very few words in it, but some really great illustrations. Chris Roshka also wrote and illustrated this book, Charlie Parker Played Bebop, which is about a real musician named Charlie Parker who played a style of jazz called bebop. And it's based on, in particular, off one of his songs. I also have these two. This is a board book. I got to meet Chris Roshka one time, and I bought several of his books, and he signed them. This is called A Ball for Daisy. This was a Caldecott medal winner. I think he uses watercolor a lot. And this is a wordless picture book. So in this case, he made the whole story without any text. We just look at the pictures to figure out what the story is, kind of like with a graphic novel. It is, again, an adorable book. And this is part of a series called Thingy Things. This one is called Lammy Lamb. And again, it relies very heavily on the illustrations. But it's really, really cute as well. I wonder if I had him sign this one. Which one did he sign? Ah, look. He put for Carla, and he signed his name down here. It's very fun to meet authors and illustrators. All right, so the story we're going to read. If you look at all the different books that Chris Roshka has illustrated, you can kind of see the style that he uses and how they're kind of similar, but it's not all the same. It just has a kind of a feeling to it. It says on here by the author of The Phantom Tollbooth, which is the chapter book I showed you. And also, this book was a winner of the Caldecott medal. I'm going to go ahead and take the dust jacket off so it's a little bit easier for me to hold the book while I'm reading it to you. Oh, this is cute. So on the dust jacket, we have the illustration of the little girl looking through the window at her grandma and grandpa. And this is the same illustration, but with a difference in colors. There's not the yellow and gold colors around it. And of course, there's no words. And there's a picture on the back. And the title isn't on the front, but it is on the spine, along with the author and illustrator and the publisher. Oh, and there's a picture. Ah, he signed this one too. For Carla. And that's his signature. 2016. I guess it's been a few years since I met him. Nana and Poppy live in a big house in the middle of town. There's a brick path that goes to the back porch, but before you get there, you pass right by the kitchen window. That's the hello goodbye window. It looks like a regular window, but it's not. So there's somebody pushing open the gate. We have their house that they live in and a window with two faces peeking out. That must be the hello goodbye window. The kitchen is where Nana and Poppy are most of the time. So you can climb up on the flour barrel and tap the window, then duck down and they won't know who did it. Or you can press your face against the glass and frighten them. If they're not in the kitchen, you can't do any of those things and you have to wait until next time. If they see you first, they wave and make silly faces. Sometimes Nana peekaboos me, which always makes me laugh. So I get a lot of extra fun and hellos before I even get inside. Just look at the kitchen. It's so big. It has a table you can color on and lots of drawers to take stuff out of and play with. But you can't touch anything under the sink. You could get very sick. There are shelves full of glass jars with lots of everything in them, a step stool so I can wash my hands, and all kinds of pictures from the olden days. Nana says she even used to give me a bath in the sink when I was little. Really? Sometimes Poppy plays his harmonica for me. He can only play one song, Oh Susanna, but he can play it a lot of different ways. He can play it slow or fast, or he can play it sitting down or standing up. He says he can even play it and drink a glass of water at the same time, but I've never seen him do that. When I stay over, we have our supper in the kitchen too, and when it's dark outside, we can look at our reflections in the window. It works just like a mirror, except it's not in the bathroom, and it looks like we're outside looking in. Poppy says, "What are you doing out there? You come right in and have your dinner." And I say, "But I'm here with you, Poppy." And then he looks at me in his funny way. Have you ever looked at yourself in the window reflection? It's kind of like how Donkey looked at his reflection in the water when he was drinking next to his friend Pat in the story we read last week. Just before I go up to bed, Nana turns off all the lights and we stand by the window and say goodnight to the stars. Do you know how many stars there are? Neither do I, but she knows them all. Look at the beautiful colors he used to make the stars in the sky. In the morning, the first place we go is back to the kitchen, and there's the window waiting for us. You can look out and say good morning to the garden or see if it's going to rain or be nice. And you can see if the dog next door is doing stuff in Nana's flower beds. She hates that. Sometimes Poppy says in a real loud voice, "Hello, world, what have you got for us today?" Nobody ever answers, but he doesn't care. Poppy makes breakfast. He says it's his specialty. My favorite is oatmeal with bananas and raisins that you can't see in because he hides them down inside. I find them all. When I get dressed, I help Nana in the garden. It's a very nice garden, but there's a tiger who lives behind the big bush in the back, so I don't ever go there. Do you think that's a real tiger? I ride my bike, too. Not in the street, please. Or collect sticks and acorns. Not in the house, please. Or just kick my ball around. Sometimes when it's hot, Poppy chases me with the hose and I yell, "Stop it, Poppy, stop it!" When he does, I ask him to do it again. Nana just shakes her head. When I get tired, I come in and take my nap, and nothing happens until I get up. Then, sometimes I just sit by the hello goodbye window and watch. Nana says it's a magic window and anybody can come along when you least expect it. Tyrannosaurus Rex. He's extinct, so he doesn't come around much. That's very close up. The pizza delivery guy. Pepperoni and cheese. He knows that's my favorite. The Queen of England. Nana is English, you know, so the Queen likes to come for tea. They all could come, and a lot more if they want. And if they do, I'll see them first. Mommy and Daddy pick me up after work. I'm glad because I know we're going home, but it makes me sad too because I have to leave Nana and Poppy. You can be happy and sad at the same time, you know. It just happens that way sometimes. When we leave, we always stop at the window to blow kisses goodbye. See? There's the little girl and her parents on the outside, looking through the window at Nana and Poppy. When you look from the outside, Nana and Poppy's house has lots of windows, but there's only one hello goodbye window, and it's right where you need it. See, there they are again in the window. When I get my own house someday, I am going to have a special hello goodbye window too. But by that time, I might be a Nana myself. I don't know who the Poppy will be, but I hope he can play the harmonica. The end. Did you like that? I love that book. I have prepared a craft for us today, and I think it's pretty cool. I was inspired to do this craft because of the window theme in the book. The little girl is always looking through the window, and I thought, wouldn't it be fun to make a craft that you can use to decorate your window so that when you look out your window, you have a little something extra. So I learned how to make window catchers. Or no, sun catchers? Sun catchers to go on your window. And there's so many different ways you can do this, but this is something that I figured out how to do today. That doesn't take too many complicated supplies, so hopefully you have what you need. You just need a lid, like a plastic lid of some kind. I had a few of these. They're what you put on a can of like cat or dog food to keep it safe for the next day. But I'm not even sure why I have these because I don't use canned cat food. So I have these, or I found these in my cupboard in my kitchen, some lids for Cool Whip containers or takeout lids. Anything like that works. Then you need some Elmer's glue, or, liquid school glue like this. And a paintbrush. I'll be right back. I'm so sorry, I forgot one of my supplies. You need a paintbrush. I have 2 here. And a cup of water. So, then you need some things to decorate with. And there are different ways to decorate. This one that I just showed you is just some sand. I happen to have some colorful craft sand. All these different colors. Purple, blue, I have the whole rainbow down here. So I use those. But I also tried, this one isn't dry. Well, I'm going to peel it off and see what it looks like. I made these this morning, and I put them outside in the sunlight to dry. And they dried pretty quickly. This one's not completely dry yet, but it's close. So for this one, I used watercolor paint. I splattered it onto the glue. And it's where it's still white is where the glue is not dry yet. So that will dry, and then it'll become mostly clear, and then it'll be very pretty. And then this one, I don't know if this one can come off. I used a little bit more glue in this one, and it looks all wrinkly, and I'm honestly not sure why. It's where it's thicker and thinner, but you can see some of the colors coming through there. And what I did was I actually used a marker to color right onto the plastic lid, and then I poured the glue on, and so it sort of soaked up the ink from the markers. And I think it will look very pretty when I peel that off. I'm going to wait a little longer on that one. So I'm just going to show you what I did. Now, it also occurred to me, if you don't have Elmer's glue, but you have some lids that you have permission to use, that you might be reusing or that would just go in the recycling or the trash otherwise. Hello. It's like the hello goodbye window. You could take these and you could use markers or paints and put them to decorate right onto them. And then you could hang them in the window. I think that would be a great idea too if you don't happen to have Elmer's glue at home. So let's do this. I will use this one since it's clear and it's a little bit easier for you to see. I'm going to squirt some glue. I'm going to do a couple on here. You got to open up the glue if you want it to come out. Come on. I just used this earlier today. There we go. All right. So I'm putting some glue, just squirting it on there. Then I'm going to use my paintbrush to spread the glue out. And the one that I showed you first with the sand on it was the only one that was fully dry and, it dried the fastest, I guess you could say. So it seems to me the thinner, the better. And it was a very thin layer of glue. So it doesn't need to be very thick at all in order for it to keep its shape and structure. But you do want it to cover the whole surface, whatever surface you're making. Okay. Then, and I'm going to try a different thing I have because, people don't always have beautiful, colorful sand like I happen to have. I found these sidewalk chalk pieces, and I thought, it's a powder, right? So shouldn't we be able to scrape it off onto the glue and it would decorate it and dry like the sand did? So I'm just going to give that a try. I'm just scraping them together so that they will kind of rub off each other. Oh, I got some pink. See the pink? See if I can get this glue to come off. Oh, the green one's coming off. That's fine. Oh, here we go. Oh, that's pretty. See? It looks a lot like the sand does. So if you have chalk, you can sort of just rub it against itself or rub it against a rock or anything harder than it, and the powder will come off onto the glue. I'm glad that worked. Now let's try the marker technique. I'm going to use pink. Let's see. Maybe these markers aren't very good. We'll see what happens after we put the glue on. So in this case, I'm putting the marker on first because it's kind of difficult and probably not a great idea to write on wet glue. So I'm writing on the plastic. I'm just doing scribbles, but you could try shapes. I think that once you put the glue on, the ink from the marker will tend to sort of spread out or bleed into the glue. So it might not keep the exact shape you made. All right. So it doesn't look like a whole lot right now. Let's see what happens when we put the glue on top. And if you have clear Elmer's glue, that would be fine too. I've heard people say that the clear Elmer's glue dries clearer, but as you could see on the one I showed you, it dries pretty clear anyway, so I don't think it's necessary. All right, now I'm going to put this on. And I'm going to spread it around with my paintbrush. I'm trying not to really spread the marker on purpose, but it doesn't really matter. This is what you might call abstract art. Oh, you can see the color a lot more now that it has the white glue on it. Now I'm showing you the back. This is so weird. It's like I'm doing art through a window. I love it. And I'm trying to get the extra glue to sort of ooze its way off to the side so that it won't be so thick and it will dry a little quicker. You could also, let's try something else. Let's try squirting the glue into a shape on purpose. How about a star? I keep forgetting to unscrew the glue. It's important to screw it back up when you're done to close it so that it won't dry out. But you also have to open it up again when you want to use it. Interesting how that works, isn't it? I made a star. I'm going to use my brush to fill it in a little. It might not keep its shape perfectly because it's, you know, kind of oozy, but that's okay. Maybe I can make little changes to it as I go. That's not bad. It's a little bit off center. And now I'll show you what I did with the watercolor. Where did I put the watercolor? Oh, it's right there. I have a set of watercolor paints. And that other paintbrush, just because I don't want to mix up my paintbrush for the paint and the paintbrush for the glue, so I got two separate ones. Let's see, let's do red. So I'm just getting some paint on my brush. Then I'm going to hold the brush over top like this. Just hold it right over top, a little ways away. And I'm going to tap the brush with my finger straight down. Tap, 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 tap. I'm not letting the brush touch plastic or the glue. I'm holding it over top. See? And you can see some of the splatters got up here on this one, which I'm okay with. I knew that might happen. But it's hard to control how much it splatters, so make sure you put paper down or are on a surface that's easy to clean. The good thing about watercolors, of course, is that they clean up pretty easily with just water. But you wouldn't want to be doing it on like a fabric, a tablecloth that would get dirty and be more difficult to clean. So that's why it's nice when you have stuff like this that you can reuse instead of throwing it away, because then you can get extra uses out of it. It's good for the environment, and making art makes you happy. So there you go. All right, I think I'm going to try it because I'm really curious to see if this one worked out. This was the one with the marker. Good thing. Oliver, stop it. My cat Oliver is trying to eat the watercolor case. If you've ever accidentally or on purpose gotten glue on your hands and then let it dry and then peeled it off and pretended it was your skin, this is a very similar concept, but, you know, obviously it doesn't look like skin as much like this. And this is a little bit thicker than what I would normally put on my hands if I was going to do that. Okay, well, it's still very wet, so it still needs to dry. But you can see that the color did indeed absorb into the glue and is coming off with the glue. So once that's all dry and see-through, I think it will be beautiful. And also, I've had, it doesn't always work. It's been hit or miss for me, but when you peel it off, it's so smooth and kind of shiny on the back where it was touching the plastic. When you peel that off, especially right after you peel it off, where it's still kind of stretchy, I think you can stick it to a window and it will kind of cling like a window cling. And then you can decorate your window as much as you want. Now he's attacking my pants. He's just in a mood, I guess. He's an indoor cat. He's never been outside except for to go to the vet and stuff. But I swear maybe the quarantine is getting to him too. Or maybe he's getting sick of seeing me all day, every day, and he wants me to go somewhere else. So he's telling me that by trying to eat my pants. Cats can be hard to understand sometimes. I hope you enjoyed the book, and I hope you enjoyed the craft, and we'll give it a try yourself. And thank you so much for watching. I will see you next week.